I appreciate the notion of agency, that we're not bystanders in the world. It's decisions, not conditions, that determine our fate and future. And that fundamental notion of agency, I think, is important more broadly. And I think that goes to some of the issues around, victimization. And I see a lot of that, respectively, on the right increasingly, even with Trump often approaching things from that sort of mindset.
What do you mean? What do you mean for Trump?
I think there's sort of the grievance.
What I saw.
Yeah.
What it looked to me like he was negotiating with the deaf.
The political pressure cooker finally burst. Gavin Newsom didn't just respond, he detonated after Tyrus triggered a moment no one saw coming. What followed was raw outrage, frantic damage control, and a reaction so intense it felt like it might melt the microphone. If you think political drama has already peaked, think again. This one swerves, spins, and leaves everyone frozen at their screens, asking one dangerous question. Stay right here, the wildest turn is just ahead.
Well, it's not his words when he speaks.
Yeah.
You have to watch him closely. And some genius decided not to film him any lower than the shoulder.
Yes, did you? Yes.
So what did he do?
You couldn't see the hands.
No, but he sent Morse code.
Yes.
Go back and watch it. Look at the blinking. Blink, look. Meet me at the house. Like, he's blinking. He's sending, I'm getting there. Hey, just so you know, I'm not.
Before we go any further, hit that like button and subscribe because you already know you don't want to miss this. The moment Tyrus stepped into the room, the conversation didn't shift, it exploded. The door came off its hinges. Talking points were scattered. The carefully arranged script was left in pieces on the floor. 1 second, political theater was humming along on autopilot, polished smiles, predictable outrage, comfortable routines.
Gavin Newsom he just all around sucks.
Yeah.
He's just, you gotta be good at something.
Yeah. You gotta be good at something.
You gotta,
What is it?
clearly the governor thing ain't his thing.
Yeah.
Telling the truth is tough. So maybe he was gonna be a good comedian, because that's what happens to a lot of people. Acting doesn't work out, then they go into politics, and he's like, hey, I'll be a comedian. Turns out, sucks at that too. So I don't know. Maybe try carpentry. I don't know. But
the very next moment, Tyrus dropped a verbal spotlight so powerful it short-circuited California's political weather system on live television. Just like that, Gavin Newsom was no longer riding the wave of his meticulously polished image.
I want some of this, then you do some of this, and I'll do some of that back to you, and then we'll do this, and then I'll pay you, and then we'll do it again.
True.
And then she kept saying, no. Okay, how about this? You do this one first, then we do this one, then we give a little back and forth.
He was paddling against a tidal surge of exposure, reaction, and public pushback, a shift from controlled to combustible in record time. And the interesting part wasn't that uncomfortable detail surfaced. That happens every single day in modern politics.
Speaking of full I'm sorry, I'm confused. He's still governor, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So he could do something about it. That's the most irritating thing, is like, why did anyone say with a follow-up where he's like, the homeless situation is ridiculous? Follow-up question, aren't you governor?
Yeah.
Like, that's the difference. That's the difference between the radical left and President Trump. He'll talk about something as...
The real spectacle was watching a man who survives on control lose his grip on the narrative just long enough to show what irritation looks like when it slips past the PR filter. The blow-up wasn't subtle. It wasn't smooth. It was the kind of reaction that makes consultants choke on their coffee and refresh social media like traders during a market crash. The contrast made it even sharper. On one side, Tyrus, calm, measured, almost relaxed, like someone who knew the reaction would do half the work for him. The audience wasn't passive. The timing was brutal. Consequences came bundled in, and once they arrived, the usual trick of reshaping the story stopped working.
And then, look, he's blinking, and then eventually the camera guy, realizing that he's signaling him, so he gets appalled, leans back, camera comes down, and then we're back to this. I'll do this for you. You do this for me a little. So he's saying whatever he's going to say. There it is. See, they couldn't hold him back. He's like, I'm not on film. Oh, I'm not. Nope. Bring my hands up. Bring him up. Bring him up. Bring him up. Bring him up. He's playing with us. Meet me at my house. You get mine. I get yours. It'll work.
Cracks appeared fast. Newsom's response unfolded in layers, like stages in a boss fight. First came denial dressed up as dismissal, the political equivalent of swatting at a mosquito while insisting nothing's happening. Then came the defensive explanations, stacking faster than anyone could fact-check. And finally, the irritation sharp, unmistakable, and loud enough to confirm the buttons weren't just pushed. They were smashed.
His hand gestures matched the words coming out of his mouth.
Right. Yes,
if the president was like, we want peace in the Middle East, you know what I'm saying? You would be like,
right,
and
That's it. That it is. It's the contrast.
Yeah, like Gavin, his hands are aggressive. You know, we've had a lot of theories. One, it was a bad negotiation with a deaf hooker. You know, now he doesn't want to pay for, you know.
Do you have a problem with deaf hookers?
He does, because...
What really sent the moment spiraling wasn't just what was said, it was how fast everything moved. Clips ricocheted across platforms like loose pinballs. Supporters rushed in to reframe. Critics sharpened their knives. But the internet had already decided. This wasn't about clarification anymore. This was entertainment. Political machine tripping over itself in real time. And the body language told the rest of the story: the tightened jaw, the restless posture, the eyes scanning too hard for control that wasn't there.
Days later, 99% no one's crossed. They're standing at the border like, you go. No, that you go. Like, no one wants to go. Newsom goes down there and says, oh, there's a problem. This is what we saw this in New York when he put, what's his name of that, Blasio, the guy you really hate?
Bill de Blasio.
He put his wife in charge of the homeless, and there's $50 million still missing?
Yeah.
So this is another one of the left's money schemes where the guy who's in charge is saying, we need help, we need to figure out a way to do this. So they're going to make a committee. They already have bubonic plague in California. I remember Dr. Drew was going, there's bubonic plague back in California.
Analysts didn't need leaks or insider sources. It was all visible. Script mode had collapsed into reaction mode. Script mode is safe, rehearsed, focus group approved. Reaction mode is raw, instinctive. And instinct, once irritated, rarely looks good. Tyrus never had to swing. The exposure worked like a pressure valve. Years of branding and political choreography were suddenly forced to improvise under heat.
We need to rethink everything, because the one thing about dementia or getting older, that the real you comes out. Mm-hmm. There's no more filters, the little Jiminy Cricket in your shoulder that says, don't say that, he died. So now it's just unfiltered. Mm-hmm. So now we have to go back. I think Corn Pop got a bad rap.
Yes.
Pretty sure Corn Pop's name was Cornelius.
Yes.
And Joe was trying to tell him how cool his hair is when he gets...
Reaction channels flooded the cycle. Supporters rushed in with loyalty that looked like emergency triage, explaining, reframing, reassuring everyone this didn't mean what it clearly looked like. Opponents didn't pause. They celebrated, stacking digital receipts like trophies. And hanging over everything was Newsom's reaction itself, echoing louder with every new defense.
I'm not paying money for that, I'll do it myself. So, you know.
A little bit of bubble.
Could you imagine if you were the sign person for the TV going...
You know what's interesting about him? I have maintained that Gavin Newsom has the easiest job of all politicians, because California is a beautiful state.
Yeah.
At its baseline, people will stay there for the weather and the scenic elements. So they'll put up with anything, and they'll put up even with a governor who...
That's the harsh truth of modern media. Once an emotional reaction escapes, every attempt to smooth it over just reminds people it happened. The irony is brutal. Political figures spend careers trying to look unshakable, yet the moments people remember most are the ones where they visibly crack. While strategists debated whether to pivot or double down, the internet moved instantly. Memes appeared within minutes. Clips slowed down. Music was added. Expressions froze into screenshots that would outlive any official statement.
I will not bring my kids back to my neighborhood because I don't feel like walking through, as you affectionately call, hobos, drug addicts and pedophiles and criminals who hide there because it's a great place to hide and commit crimes. So he could do something. He doesn't want to do something. He's just saying to see if American people are stupid enough to fall for his.
Yeah, you know what we used to call, gotta move on.
And then came the follow-ups. Because once a reaction breaks containment, it invites questions, and questions invite scrutiny. Scrutiny digs up old moments, old statements, old decisions that suddenly feel new again. What began as one exposure turned into a doorway to a larger conversation no one in power ever welcomes.
No. He would not do that. He would not do that because that's just straight up honest racism. That's no.
Remember, he did that about
He would do it in a way where he would tell a story about the founding fathers and how they built this country so immigrants could come from India and build 7-Elevens.
Yeah, so that's what he would do.
And hand him Slurpees in the summertime.
Yes.
Overpriced, of course. That's how he'll do it. And he'll say, and then he'll tell.
The most revealing part wasn't what Newsom said next. It was the shift in tone. The edges softened slightly, but not enough to erase the damage. For years, he's mastered offense, shaping the conversation before critics could line up. But when that dynamic flipped, even briefly, the adjustment looked awkward. Muscles trained for performance suddenly had to absorb real impact.
Lying, and I can't do that. Well, since you can't lie, what tequila were you nursing while the Pacific Palisades burned? And what was it like banging your campaign manager's wife? Of course, he's just waiting for us to forget that his state looks like an overturned porta potty.
So what their problem is not that what he says is that anyone from any walk of life understands his message.
And that's scary.
And that is.
And impact is what the audience came for. Left, right, or just leaning back with popcorn, they felt it instantly. This wasn't scripted conflict. This was unscripted friction. And unscripted friction carries energy no rehearsed speech can replicate. Tyrus didn't push further. He didn't need to. The spark had already done its job.
And then look at the audience and be like, what?
Yeah.
What did I say here? No one likes him and his family. Because at some point, if you had any love from anybody, they'd be enough. If he was a boxer, you hug him, you put the towel over his head and be like, we're going home, man.
Yeah.
We're going home. We're done here. But
yeah,
he couldn't even read LL.
Yeah.
Could I have something very quickly here? Obviously, Newsom is jockeying for presidential position because he has agreed to debate Ron DeSantis on this network.
Yeah.
That's the aftershock of moments like this. Not the noise, the reminder. That control, no matter how carefully constructed, is always one unexpected spark away from slipping. The headlines will move on. The cycle will demand fresh drama. But the clip will linger. Because memory doesn't cling to facts. Clings to moments. And this one left a crack beneath the polish, small, visible, and impossible to fully paint over.